Every now and then, a game inexplicably takes over the speedrun community. And SpongeBob SquarePants is one of those games. Suddenly found itself an entire community of players. And they've really pushed the game, so look forward to that coming up in just a moment.
So, it's the current year, and if you're not already aware, Battle for Bikini Bottom has gained a reasonably large following and community. There are people who are passionate about trying to beat the game as quickly as possible. Now, it sounds kind of ridiculous at first if you're not aware of what speedrunning is, but the hobby is growing and expanding and evolving into what may eventually become an esport, where people are now, instead of just simply trying to beat the game as quickly as possible, they're doing this, but they're also competing against other people to beat it faster than them in a current given time. And that would be what we refer to as speedrun races. It's pretty clear. Speedrunning is going into a direction now where it's not just about raising money for charity or even just beating your own game by yourself in a room secluded, just trying to over and over again get the most optimized time. That's always going to be a thing in speedrunning. That's always going to be a factor that interests people. But I think that speedrunning is now moving into a direction where racing is becoming the new big thing, and that is what's going to allow people to pursue their professional careers in the future when prize pots get big enough. And if you think that speedrunning doesn't have money in it right now, we can go on and on about how good ad revenue is for organizations that are hosting speedrun tournaments and whatnot. We can talk about how people who are speedrunning very competitive games are getting sponsored by esports teams now. We can go all into that, but this isn't really about the money. This isn't really about any of that right now, because again, you need to have the passion and the drive first to even think about making a living off of doing something. But the whole point, again, because it's going to come up again and again, I have to just talk about this now, that when we talk about money in speedrunning, we're not talking about profiting off of a hobby in the sense of like you just get into a run or a community with the intent of profiting off of it. That's not the point of putting money into speedrunning. The point of putting money into this hobby that we want to take to the next level is allowing people to focus full time on bettering themselves in a specific game or field without having the distraction of another side job or another hobby that they need to pursue as like a part-time job to make ends meet. That's the whole point of putting money into speedrunning, is that, not everybody's as privileged as some people who have a stream built around them for streaming a game. And again, a stream can be a full-time job for someone like it is for me, but even with streaming, the focus is not entirely on speedrunning either and getting better at the game. There's a lot of that focus is on maintaining your chat, interacting, mixing it up with more content, other variety stuff. We're trying to see right now, what we're trying to see in the future is people focusing entirely on one game and becoming the best at it, the best they could possibly be at it. So again, money in speedrunning is going to come up at some point in this video, I'm sure. I just wanted to get that out of the way now and talk about how people want money in speedrunning because not for reasons of greed. It's because we want people to be able to focus on their career professionally and make a career out of something that we hold near and dear and make it better than ever before. You can see this in a lot of different esports where, once they became large enough to support their players just got better and better. The game got more optimized because they could finally focus in and focus on that one thing. So we're going to be seeing some great competition in the future. We're going to see more optimized times, more leaderboard competition too, because as speedrunning becomes more of an esport, we're going to see the games that we love get even better than ever before, and it's just better entertainment overall. So where does Battle for Bikini Bottom fit into that picture? Because we can talk about how there was a GSA. I don't think I've introduced that yet. So the Global Speedrun Association is an organization that just kind of popped up pretty recently that I'm actually a part of. And just to get that out of the way, because I am biased because I am involved with it, the GSA races and tournaments that they're hosting online and in person at live events are doing they're working wonders for helping spread the word of what we're doing here. With our game specifically, other games too, especially Mario 64, Celeste, and Odyssey are the three big ones. But Battle for Bikini Bottom is on the rise as well, and we've discussed with GSA the possibility of having a league for speedrunning Battle for Bikini Bottom, the original. Now, I know that you guys want to hear about Rehydrated and my thoughts on that, but we gotta first like paint the picture, like where Rehydrated is going to fit into all this first. So just bear with me. So with Battle for Bikini Bottom potentially becoming a league, a video game in this organization, we got to talk about like how players are going to stay motivated, how the season breakdown works, and what's going to happen with this game when Rehydrated comes out. Like, how is it going to translate to that? So the way this works is you have different speedrun races for like, say, like one rule set. The current rule set that we're looking at is New Game Plus for Battle for Bikini Bottom, even though New Game Plus is not really an actual game mode in Battle for Bikini Bottom. We kind of just made our own rule set that starts with the cruise bubble and bubble bowl to make the game faster paced and more suitable for racing. So we're giving that a trial pretty soon on the Global Speedrun Association. You guys can check that out at twitch.tv/speedrun if you're curious to see what that looks like, but that's probably going to be going on later this summer. So you would have these races where people start the game at the same time, and they play each other to try and beat the game faster than the other person, and the person who finishes the game first wins. And we're going to have multiple races like that throughout the season among different players. And the person who wins, or rather it's the person, you score points for beating the other person. And the person with the most points gets into the finalist matches, which will be held at the next PACE event. And PACE, if you don't know already, is a competitive speedrunning event, kind of like it's basically just a live tournament. It's a live tournament where people fly out to compete in speedrunning in a top 4 situation on a stage. It's really cool. I went to the first one, actually. The first one ever happened in April. I actually went there and did a run of 100% as a showcase run because, again, like Battle for Bikini Bottom is not in a league yet. So that's the future thing. But I've seen it work. I've been to these events, and it's really, really cool to see people compete. And even games that you didn't think were that competitive, if you look at the leaderboards, the leaderboard activity, like Mario Kart Double Dash is, even though like on speedrun.com it doesn't really have a lot of active runners compared to most of the top games, it's got a really passionate community that's like tight-knit, and they're very talented. So you don't need to have the biggest speedrun in the world on speedrun.com to have a super entertaining and competitive league. You can have something like Battle for Bikini Bottom where there are maybe like 30 or 40 active runners at a time who are very dedicated to the game and can provide that kind of entertainment because they're very specialized and they've been playing for such a long time. And again, like, it sounds weird saying this if you're not aware of it already, but Battle for Bikini Bottom, like, I'm not the only person who runs it. There are a lot of people who play this game, and it's just getting bigger and bigger by the day. More people like discover this channel through the remake that's coming out. They're aware of what we're doing now, and a lot of them are interested in learning the tricks and stuff like that too, and taking it to the next level. And again, like, for these guys, this game is something that was maybe forgotten, or they've played casually too many times to the point where they just don't enjoy playing it casually anymore. Well, the next step up from that is just once you start speedrunning it, it's there's infinite replay value there. You can just keep doing it over and over again, and it gets more fun the more you improve your time. Now, obviously, we could talk about how like fatigue happens when you get to the point where you're trying to improve your records so much that you just get stressed out, and it feels like it's almost impossible to improve. But trust me, even when you get to that point, beating your time always feels amazing, and that's why people do it. It's almost like it's addictive. It really is, because of how satisfying it feels to accomplish something. And you can do this with any game, by the way. But again, we got to stay on topic here. A lot of discussion, like, because of how passionate. I just want to paint the picture of like all the things that are going for this game right now, all the potential events, leagues, publicity for the original game. It's really, really exciting at the moment for people who are interested in the speedrun for this game. And that begs the question with the announcement of this new one: what's going to happen to the original game, and what's going to happen to the new game when these things all come into play? Probably within the next year, we're probably going to have to deal with this. So we've been discussing what glitches and what tricks can carry over from the original to the new one, because we're building such a competitive and passionate fan base around the original game that it's hard to imagine switching over to the new one when it comes out. A lot of people have suggested like the new one's probably going to be fun for a little bit, and then we're going to end up going back to the old one anyway, which I think is probably what's going to happen, because again, like, I'm very skeptical when it comes to newer games having the same glitches and personality as older games, but that's a whole different topic for another day. But again, we're going into this with optimism, hoping that the game is as technical and as fun, but in a different way. Sorry, that's my alarm to wake up. Usually I'm not up at this time. I stream from like 7 p.m. to 5 a.m. So yeah. All right. So as I was saying, by the way, he's tagging along. I don't think I mentioned that as well. He was a big hit last time, so he's back. Okay. So as I was saying, we're discussing. Think about it. All right, we got off topic. So we were discussing how the competitiveness of the original game is going to translate to the new one, how we're going to coexist and whatnot. Now, whether the game is good or not for competitive value, it's still worth mentioning that, like, it's still a win-win. Like, we're still winning. This community is still having a big victory just by the sheer exposure the game is getting from having a remaster or a re-release. It is pretty topical because a lot of people who weren't aware of this game are surprised that it's getting remastered or remade because, again, like, it's not a game that people usually remember unless it's you get reminded of it. People usually have to say, like, oh, do you remember that game from when you were a kid, Battle for Bikini Bottom? And people then respond, oh yeah, I remember that game from when I was a kid, I loved that game. But usually, unless you actually bring it up, the people don't remember it. And now you have all these people. It's so shocking that this game from our childhood is being revived. And that alone is a great thing for this community, even if it doesn't turn out to be a game with a lot of competitive potential. It's still amazing for the original game because it's going to bring people from the new one back to the old one. But ultimately, we really hope that both are really fun to play, and if they are, what's going to happen to the original. I think a similar thing. I love to compare this situation here to if you're a Smash fan, it's so similar with the release of Smash Brothers for the Switch, Smash Ultimate. It's a very similar thing where even though the new game came out and it burst in popularity and the old game kind of died down for a little bit, it still grew both communities, and both communities can coexist now and both be competitive because people love both games. And now because the new game brought more exposure to the old game, the community at large is overall bigger. So that's what I'm hoping happens with the new game. I hope the new one is fun in its own way, in a different way. I'm hoping that it brings new things to the table that weren't in the old game, that are still fun to do, that make it different from the original. Because I think at this point, hoping that it's the same thing but with better graphics is not gonna pan out. I'm almost 100% sure that the game is being made on a different engine because renderware is just decades old, and it's just probably not going to happen that way. And a lot of the glitches that occur in the original are due to the game's engine. So just by nature of having a different engine, it's probably not going to be anything like the original in terms of speed tech. Because if you ever watched a run of the game, it's just a skip or a glitch every 3 seconds, like no joke. It doesn't even play at all like the original. So I'm hoping the new game has some new tech skill, maybe some different skips that are, that make it different from the original, but still fun to play. Because you can compare games like a lot of new games, like Super Mario Odyssey, for example, is mostly like most of the exploits and glitches in that game are really just like they're based off of the game's base mechanics, where you use Mario's movement to skip stuff or clip through stuff. That's mostly what the game is, just like optimized movement and using captures in I guess like 500 IQ ways or whatever. That's the best way I got to put it, I guess, really. Is that you're using captures in ways that like you wouldn't have thought what would be the best way to do it before. It's just optimizing the game for what it is and using its own movement against itself to make it faster, and using that movement to also clip things, because clips usually exist in games, but not like stuff like cruise boosting and like levitation, Like those things like in Battle for Bikini Bottom are just whack, and they're probably not gonna appear again in the new one. I would assume not, unless of course the developers of the game are interested in transferring some of those mechanics to the new engine by just hard coding it in. And I have contacted THQ Nordic. I mentioned this I think in one of the previous videos. I contacted THQ Nordic about potentially helping with their public relations, like helping promote the game, advertise it for them. I'm trying to see if I can get in there to be able to like stream the game early, possibly, just to bring more exposure to it. Because again, like it's a win-win for both of us if we can both achieve success through that kind of a joint venture. And as for Purple Lamp Studios, the studio that picked up the project for the new game, I'm curious to see if they'd be interested in letting me like offer advice or like maybe even play testing it if possible. Now, obviously, a lot of studios don't let their fans play test stuff, but I think that I have enough influence on the internet to maybe convince THQ Nordic to let me help with their advertisement, perhaps, and that in part already keeps me a little bit involved anyway. So I'm hoping to maybe get involved in the process. I don't have high hopes, but I'm hoping to at least like be able to like give advice, because I played this game for thousands of hours. Like I know the mechanics inside and out, like how the game is supposed to feel. It's not that I don't have faith, but I just want them to have the best product possible, so everybody's happy, you know. And as I was saying, Purple Lamp Studios is more of a newer game development studio that has made, I believe, they've made like one game before. So some people are worried about like their ability to take on this project, and I would say to them, you have nothing to worry about. I would say, really, I wouldn't worry too much about it, because the first game that they made had such positive feedback from its community on how responsive they were and interested in helping them craft the best game possible, that I feel like, because a game that's being remade because of how many fans it still has over the years, I feel like they would know how important it is to their fans to keep the product as true to the original as possible. And obviously, like, their competency plays a role in that, but we know that we're going forward with the best intentions possible. We don't have to worry about whether they want to do the game justice, because that's what they're setting out to do. That's the whole reason why we're getting this in the first place, is because they want to do the game justice, and it's a fan service to people who have been waiting 15 years to play the game again. So all that together, all things considered, I really don't think that there's much to worry about as far as their intentions. But at the same time, like, a lot of the things that the passionate community behind this game, like the guys who are on this channel, who've been watching this game develop for the past 3 years, people are like, those people are probably worried about those types of mechanics transferring over. And again, we've seen games like Ocarina of Time remastered for the 3DS keep some of those things in the game because they wanted to keep it as true as possible to the original. And I really hope that's what happens. I really hope that the developers, like, they look into the speedrun and try to replicate a lot of the ways that the game can be broken and exploited to make it more of a fun platformer for people who choose to take the game a step further. Because again, I don't think that the Battle for Bikini Bottom is broken in a disruptive way to casual players. We've talked about before how if a game is disruptive to casual players, say there's like a crash or something or a glitch that can make the game soft lock or whatever, like, those things should obviously be fixed because it disrupts casual play. But again, a glitch like cruise boosting or sponge gliding that can only happen if you deliberately seek out to do it and if you know about it, what's the harm in leaving that in? All that's doing is allowing the player who takes the game more seriously and more passionately to keep playing the game and keep interest in it. Because again, like, I hate to break it to you guys, but I would not be playing this game for 6,000 hours total if sorry, he's like being a little playful. I've not played this game so long if it didn't have all this interesting tech skill in it that makes the game more difficult and more interesting to run. Because, like, no offense, but I wouldn't want to walk around and like connect the towers all day, you know? There's so much more interesting tech skill and fun stuff to do than just that when you take the game to a deeper level. And I think that that's very important for streaming and just content creation in general, games like Mario 64 have stuck around for so long because they're so deep and interesting in mechanics. You have channels like Pan and Coke that have just gone into detail on so many of these things, and the mainstream viewership is interested in that kind of stuff, like boiling a game down to its core values and really understanding how it works. That's something that Battle for Bikini Bottom is blessed with, that it has those kinds of like deep aspects that a lot of games don't have. And that's why it's so fascinating that this game, this licensed forgotten game from 2003 that was a huge hit when it came out, but over time just kind of just dwindled in popularity, is coming back, and its original community has been dedicated to it for so long, and we're just so excited to see it happening and to bring the entire community together and hopefully find passion in both games. You know, there's just so much to be excited for. It really is. It is definitely a great time to be a fan of this game. And it's an even better time to get into the game yourself. I'm going to leave a playlist in the description of this video that you can click on it, and it'll show you some 3 to 5 minute videos on how to do some of the glitches and tech in this game. A lot of those things are very easy to learn, so really just don't feel intimidated by it. If you're curious to watch any runs of the game, a video is going to upload tomorrow. Actually, it's going to upload tomorrow. Sorry, I was thinking to myself, like, my schedule for uploading. Is today Wednesday? Yeah, today's Wednesday. Okay, so tomorrow you're gonna get. Okay, so tomorrow this video is gonna upload. Looking at me, so cute. So tomorrow this video is gonna upload, and then on Friday you guys are gonna get the 100% world record that I just recently got for the 122. Super good run up until the end, but even at the end it was still pretty okay, except for a couple of mess ups. So I hope you guys really enjoy that if you're curious about like what a run of this game looks like. But pretty much that's all for now, really. I don't want to talk too much more about like speculating what glitches are or aren't going to be in the game, because we just really have no idea. I'm still waiting for the PR team to get back to me, because they were at E3 recently and a lot of those guys are not back at the office yet, so we're waiting on that kind of that feedback. But are you seeing this? You okay, bud? He's getting old. He's cute though. As I was saying, their PR team is not back at the office yet, so we're kind of just waiting on them to get back to me. When they do, I'll give you guys some updates with whatever information possible. I'm gonna try to at least help promote this game and get like as much exposure as possible, because I feel like it's like my duty to really help with that, because I have the ability, I have the platform to help with it. So I really want to see that through. We're going to continue talking more about the game, what glitches we might want to see, what glitches we don't want in the next game. Feel free to discuss that in the comment section, or like come to my stream rather, twitch.tv/shift. The URL is going to be in the bottom of the screen. Just come over and make an account, and we're discussing this pretty much every day. We're always speculating like what's going to be in the game, what's going to happen to the new one, what's going to happen to the old one. And again, like I'm just hoping that they can coexist. I hope that one game doesn't like people don't like start arguing over which game is better than the other. You know, I just want it to be like we should all just be happy that people were considerate enough to want to do this. And again, if you're thinking, I have to say this as well, if you're thinking about getting into Battle for Bikini Bottom as a speedrun, but you're thinking I'll just wait for the remaster to get into it, don't don't wait. It's probably going to be over a year, and in a year's time, and again, because it's going to be a completely different game, so the things that you're impressed by with this game probably won't even exist in the new one. We just have no idea. But an entire year of getting good at the game and all the awesome people in this community that you have to meet and become friends with, like, it's not worth like waiting around for the passion to die out. Like, if you're interested now, just go for it, man. It's really, really fun. And again, like, if you join my Discord server, discord.gg/shift, excuse me, discord.gg/shift, there are a lot of people in there who will be glad to help you, including myself, explain how things work, especially in my Twitch chat. You can ask questions there too. So, he sheds so much. Look at him. Big shedder. Alright, well, that's pretty much it for this video. I kind of went on a little bit longer than I wanted to, but that's cool though, because I mean, I'm a streamer. That's just what I do. I talk a lot. But yeah, pop into my stream. I usually stream 7 p.m. Eastern time to 5 a.m. Eastern time, so check that out if you're interested. And remember, We're going to be here till the end of time. Battle for Bikini Bottom is not going anywhere. We're going to keep playing the original game, and we're going to give the new one as fair of a shot as possible. Hoping for the best, guys. See you next time.